Hello everyone and welcome. First thing, I need your help in identifying this wood. My guess is it's cherry, but I'm not sure. Let me know down in the comments if you know what kind of wood it is. So it's a platter blank. I cut it to round on the bandsaw. I am finding center here, and once I have it mounted, I'm going to start to make a platter. As you can see, I use two different center finder devices on larger pieces like this. Sometimes I do that just to try to be a little bit more accurate. Using a faceplate and screws to mount this to the piece and then onto the lathe. So it's at a round, as you can see. So the first task is to make it round, to true it up. Starting out with the Carter & Son bowl gouge. And that's what I primarily use throughout this, is different sizes of the Carter & Son bowl gouge. I use a skew chisel, and I think that's about it. I will link the tools and products that I use down in the video description if you want to check them out. Some really great and cheap tools, if you don't have them, is the center finders that I used. Especially if you're used to using a circle center finder and you haven't tried the triangle one, it's worth it to add it to your collection. I think it's only like $6.50. So I hope it's warmer where you are. I live in Maine, and the temperatures this week have been single digits or below freezing, or obviously below freezing, but sometimes below zero is what I meant. Makes me want to go back to Florida. Flattening the bottom here before trying to figure out what the foot is going to look like. I'm going to use a mortise and a foot. So just when I start to flatten the bottom, I start to try to visualize that. Here is the Carter & Son parting tool, and even though it's a parting tool, it does come in handy for things like this. And the skew chisel, just trying to flatten the mortise and get the dovetail in there correctly. Now that the foot is established, I am taking some more material off, or more at a time, I should say. And I'm using a combination of different kind of push and pull cuts. This is a push cut. And this is the 3/4 inch Carter & Son bowl gouge. And you can see how the shavings pile up there. The lathe is at about 900 RPM at this point. And taking some lighter passes with push cut. calling this a platter, but in a way it's a wide-rimmed bowl, I suppose. If you guys are wood turners, what do you do with all of your shavings? I put mine into large yard waste bags and give it to someone who has like a mini farm. Curious what other people do with it. Do you burn it? Do you throw it away? What do you do? Sanding sealer here. I use 1 coat of the Zinsser sanding sealer, 70-30 mixed with denatured alcohol, and then after that dries there, I was denibbing it with some 600 grit sandpaper, and then onto the Axe abrasive paste. If you haven't tried Axe, I do have a discount code available. Check the video description. Great product at a reasonable price, made in the US of A. Good old PA. Go Steelers. Except with the Patriots, of course, because I'm from Maine. This is the Axe polishing paste. As easy to use as what you see on camera. I don't know, I think this is cherry, but I'm not positive. Using a chuck then to put into the mortise. Once it's mounted on the lathe again, trying to flatten the top here so I can get it trued up. And then I will establish where the rim will be momentarily. Here is the parting tool again, and this cut is establishing where the rim and the bowl part will be. And back to the bowl gouge and turning up the lathe speed to about 1,000 RPM now that this is trued up. And it doesn't take long to hollow this out since it was pretty thin in terms of compared to some of the bowls I do anyway. So as I'm turning this, I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to finish this piece? Not finish as in sanding sealer and Axe. I know I'm going to do that, but it's kind of, even though it's a pretty wood, it's kind of a plain Jane, if you will, and I wanted to embellish it somehow, but I didn't want to put color on it. I didn't want to put dye on it or stain. So stick around and see what I end up doing with it here in a minute or so. Some final passes here. And now that it's pretty much to the rough shape, I'm starting with wood burning. And these are circles. This is sped up quite a bit. Don't think I can work this fast. But this is a wood burning device, and these are circles that I'm putting all the way around the rim. and then I'm going to embellish them with a little bit of color. I'm using some artist paint markers. I will link what I'm using down in the video description. Having not used these before, at least for this type of application, I was very happy with how they performed. It really did feel like painting. So the idea I had here is to embellish the rim with colors, and the colors would change as they go around the rim, sort of in a gradient pattern, if you will. So slow down this part a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm doing, and it will speed up here in a minute. You won't have to watch me do the whole thing, I promise. But you get a good view here of what I'm doing. And I know maybe some of the questions I will get is how long did it take? Well, the wood burning itself probably took over an hour. The markers, the painting part here, probably took an hour and a half. So probably 3 hours anyway. Changing the colors here. And you can see a little bit of a different design here in a second after the this pink color. I end up sanding that part off and doing this wood burning circles again. I had planned on integrating a pattern with the circles, but I didn't like how it looked, so I'm taping the inside before I apply Total Boat tabletop epoxy to the rim. The tape is to avoid spill. Before I apply the epoxy, I do seal it with this sanding sealer shellac. And on to the Total Boat epoxy part. Mixing up the tabletop epoxy and then applying sparingly the first coat. I wanted to get it leveled out, so I probably could have just poured it on, but I was trying to be extra careful. And then this is the second coat. And you can see I added blue tape to the outside so it doesn't drip down around the outside of the bowl. And after that cured overnight, I'm taking the blue tape off, and then I will remount it on the lathe to clean it up a bit. Hey, if you're new here, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Click that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. Hit the bell notification to be notified anytime we upload a new project. So this is a negative rake carbide tool from Easy Wood Tools, and I'm just trying to clean up around the top of the rim on the side where there was some epoxy drip. So after that was done, cleaning it up a little bit with denatured alcohol, and then sanding sealer to seal the inside. And it's starting to come together. After that dries, I do denib it with a high grit sandpaper. I can't remember if this is 400 or 600. And onto the Axe abrasive paste. I know I mentioned this already. I do have a discount code for Axe. I do have discount codes for other products, a total boat included. Epoxy can be expensive, so make sure you use the coupon code when you order to save some money. The Axe polishing paste. And it really brings out the sheen and the beauty in the wood and the epoxy. And we are done. Here are the beauty shots. Like I said, please consider subscribing. It really does help me out. I appreciate all the comments. I will answer every single one. So until next week, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace out.